Recording.
Alright. So, with Adelheid dismissing everyone after requesting a debriefing for after dinner, which would be about 4 hours from now, Ruby and Molt pulled Luan aside, where the three of them did some preliminary reverse engineering on some of the ammunitions and firearms that you gathered from AAL R04. As it has become very apparent that this AAL's research facility was a research and development for firearms and ammunition. It didn't take long for the three of you to deduce that the flawless craftsmanship behind the manufacturing of these bullets, as the Alpibnos called them, was light years ahead of both modern military technology, or before, with Malt stating that this was easily several centuries more advanced than even Gnomish technology, which when you consider that the technology of Leon's home country, Humang, is about several decades to a century ahead of the rest of the world on this side, and that Gnomish technology is estimated to be about 2 centuries ahead of Humang. Suffice to say, you all wouldn't be replicating this design, this degree of craftsmanship anytime soon, if not even in your lifetime, as the degree of innovation in magical engineering, to even begin to come close to this degree of precision craftsmanship is admittedly a little difficult to imagine, especially when you take into consideration the signs of the massive machinery that once occupied the AAL's research lab in order to make these. With that in mind, reverse engineering the munitions would be a lifelong project for even a gnome. Though the silver lining is that these will most definitely advance the current level of firearms technology from where it is considerably. Then there is the firearms you all found, which is its own can of worms, so to speak. Suffice to say, you won't be making anything like this for ages. But like with the advanced ammunition, it will also go far with advancing the current understanding of firearms. All in all, finding this ammunition and firearms cache was absolutely priceless and will go far in the war against the Red Dragon in the long run. While you won't really see the fruits of reverse engineering the weapons and ammunition at the macro level for several months to maybe a year or more, it wouldn't be too long until advancements at the micro level start popping up. Because even a small handful of upgraded firearms in the hands of veteran firearms operators will be a devastating impact on raids and other guerrilla warfare operations against the Red Dragon Empire. Which leads the three of you to suspect that the prototypes of initial research into these weapons and ammos will be put into the field likely about the time you've taken South Jishizi and began the long road towards taking West Jishizi. Suffice to say, this will be the ticket needed for the West. Did I cut out there for a minute?
No.
I caught everything.
All right. Yeah. And essentially, West GCZ, when you consider how much military presence is in the country, will not be quick. So, with the three of you wrapping up your preliminary investigation, so to speak, you then head on out to continue the rest of your affairs while the two other Magitech people begin their own research. So, Luan, what do? You have 3 hours.
So I get to have one word with Olivine. Great. I would probably, as I exit the door and think on the talk with Molten Ruby, which I still need to make a response to, I would head upstairs thinking if I could get a word in with our resident time traveler, Belinda, to start with.
Alrighty. Plays according to tokenly. Tokenly accordingly.
Yeah, the tokenly accordingly. Would be about where he is now. I knock and there's no answer, so I enter the door.
Yeah, you figure nobody's in the lobby.
Yep. And I think that Adelheid and whoever else is in the conference room, so I would effectively just knock and enter the doors on the right.
So yeah, you just kind of like go in and you see across the way immediately, Nefertonk effectively passed out on the couch, with Fossil Tip just kind of lightly fanning her with a hand fan. Meanwhile, Onsecmet just kind of watches. You find Belinda alone over here, surprisingly. Bella nowhere to be found. So she's totally not with Ashi right now.
Yeah. One then kind of make his way to the corner sofa and sit down. Glad to know that not all of us are dead. Figuratively speaking.
Hello. Hello, Luan Tuhan.
Why hello there. Do you have moon?
Jin cracks a small smirk. What brings you to my presence?
First of all, I'm inside her.
Roll inside.
Her general mood. Fuck. Where is it? Come on, let's kick this off with a natural one.
Don't you do it. No.
26. Not too bad.
She seemed kind of rather neutral when you showed up. Though when she took a seat and started speaking with her, her mood improved considerably. And she's made so she's clearly feeling good.
Huh. Okay. Like,
Humla.
was something bothering you earlier? Seemed like that I almost picked you up a few notches there by just showing up.
She kind of gives a wry smile. I was going over what Bella had to make up during the lost time that she was at Silverlead in between then. So she kind of like offers a wry smile. Considering Bella was less than pleased and excited for such things, made it a bit of a chore. Though I can't really blame her.
Learning about nobles and everything, huh?
But, yep, very important things. Seeing as she is about 3.5 months behind, yeah. She has a lot of work to do.
I'm sure she'll do fine, as long as you can keep her butt on this sofa, which might turn out to be a bit troublesome sometimes.
She gives a small nod with a bit of an exasperated smile, just like, eh.
Well, would you mind if you let me take your mind elsewhere for a moment?
She just kind of offers you a little grin. Shall we take this conversation elsewhere for a bit?
I wouldn't mind.
She gests a hand towards the door. Lead the way, good sir.
I was expecting her to just fucking yeet us into the through time, but no, she's not that kind of time traveler. Let's see. Malt and Ruby are still, where did she gesture? The lobby door?
Yeah, the lobby door.
Yeah. Then go there and through and, there. And just kind of take a seat here while waiting for her.
She follows after you after a few moments. And she's like, all right.
This should be good enough. At least it's not nation secrets or anything. At least,
Yes.
hopefully.
Alright, hold on a moment.
Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da.
Curious.
She then, after taking a seat, kind of turns to you with a bit of a smirk before speaking with a bit of a playfully condescending tone. Oh, hold on, that's the wrong one. I'm awake. What are you talking about?
Nice. No worries. I'm kind of waking up myself.
But yeah, she turns to you with a cheeky smile and says that.
What? It says what?
What? And says, so, what can this humble former queen do for you, Duan Tuhan?
Kind of gives a smile at that. Oh yes, just the former queen, huh? As all of us are.
She gives an innocent shrug at that.
There you go. Let's see. I'm lost on tabs. There you go.
Alright.
Well, a few things actually.
Is that so?
Yes. Honestly, I was expecting for you to chew me out more over this whole Spider Queen thing. I understand.
So, was that?
Am I cutting out or what?
No, I just missed it because I was grabbing something.
Okay. So, honestly, I was kind of expecting for you to chew me out a bit more over the whole Spider Queen thing. That or be a bit saltier over the whole thing. You exactly.
Well, I haven't had
pleased.
a conversation to speak with you yet now, have I? She kind of just gives you a curt smile.
Oh, please. Time travelers are cheaters. You can always find time.
Yes, I can, but is it a match with your time?
One thing, something like once he returned to the inn, he hasn't had a time to sit down yet. It's like, fair point.
She just kind of titters at that with a grin.
I guess I haven't acclimated of being here yet. Again.
Unfortunately, despite my being a chronomancer and moving at the speed of time, I am forced to move at the speed of mortals and mortal time, which can take a great deal of time. However, it is what it is, as they say. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Or nothing. I just put up deja vu with that. Well, that is true. And not to mention that you're but a young whippersnapper when it comes to time travelers anyway. You're not even a billion years old yet.
She kind of flashes you a wry smile. Yeah, relative to other time travelers, I am an infant, unfortunately.
Well, you know as they say. Youth fits women.
She gives a small shrug of that, like, eh.
But about the Spider Queen, you did mention that, well, not only have you two met before, but you two fought. And I can understand that much, considering you were chasing Spider Silk and face Spider Silk and face Spider Eggs and whatnot, but how do you know her presumably traitorous nature? You seemed rather adamant on it.
Sorry, repeat that last bit.
How do you know of her seemingly traitorous nature? You seem to be rather adamant on it, over it.
Well, first of all, she's a spider who really only look out for themselves. And then second, it's not completely unknown at the time that people would encounter her and either not make it back alive, or if they did, they would be somewhat traumatized. Because she would afflict them with a curse, where they had to do whatever it was that they said they were going to do, or she would just kill them. So, and it's not unlike her to discard things before, or when they are no longer useful to her. Because it's so much easier than having loose ends, so to speak. When you're a being as ancient as she is, you can't keep track of all of these loose ends. So she does not bother having them.
Considering she's an eight-legged creepy crawly, I can understand that from an awfully humane perspective, that logic.
Though I will say that her effort here does appear to be genuine, but I remain skeptical because it's a little difficult to trust someone like that.
Also,
Because it's hard to say of where her, her persona as a spider ends and where her, beginning and her being a surface dweller begins. Very blurred line.
she mentioned that. Did she mention that she completely changed already? To everyone?
She vaguely mentioned that I'm closer to you now, but didn't elaborate on what that meant.
Yeah. But she also said that it's okay to basically speak on that once we're on the surface.
Yes, which
she made mention of that because, she mentioned that she was different than she used to be when she became a phased rider, because it changed a lot about her personality.
Yeah. Going from a spider to a fuck-off spider to a huntsman spider to a human. It's true. From a spider's perspective, I'd say it's more so protecting your children. It's the same kind of affection and affiliation as dragons have regarding their hordes and their young ones. You do anything to protect them.
Which is precisely why I'm so curious what she is up to. Because she has effectively abandoned her horde and her colony. Which is pretty much unheard of. But then again, so is a being of this nature. Because as far as I'm aware, I cannot recall any such creature. A spider having become something more and then becoming practically a humanoid.
Well, I saw her
because
change.
She is flesh and blood, so to speak. I can tell that much.
Well, she changed in front of my eyes, and I can quite literally tell that she's, a bona fide human woman.
Yes. Although a bit different.
She can lay eggs.
Are curious.
Her genetics?
She can.
Her blood is not necessarily like ours.
What do you mean?
In fact, a lot about her anatomy is not like ours. Well, keep an eye on the next time she gets hurt, and you'll see what I mean. She kind of gives a smile at that.
That shouldn't be too difficult, considering she'd be squished like a grape right now.
Yeah, and that's another thing. She clearly has abandoned her power in the pursuit of what she is doing. Which is why I'm very conflicted now in regards to her. Because at every conceivable angle, this appears to be genuine. But that isn't how it happened in the past. She seemed genuine enough until she had what she needed. But again, that was mostly the spider in her talking. So it remains to be seen what exactly she will become.
Yes. She also has curious connections with the gods, as well as not being phased by being in their presence. She's full of anonymity. She's full. I can speak. She's full of mystery. That one. But I'll be keeping a close eye on her. Because her she's just about as mysterious as, well, some of the gods that I've come to know. And not to mention the witches.
She kind of smiles at that. That would seem to be the case.
However, she did say, if we were to take her word at face value, she did say that she simply wants to explore the surface and be with us, which would again make sense from a spidery perspective. But that's not what she's become anymore. So I believe that her true allegiance lies in meeting with some of the gods.
Yeah, because she made mention about owing some for her lot in life, so to speak. It's hard to say what they did for her, although I find it rather curious that she's met a number of gods. Makes me wonder, what all gods has she met exactly?
Well, like
what gods are you aware of that she's met?
Well, I can name 6 off the top of my head. But that would be the 4 in the church, because I imagine she's met all of them since they have statues there.
Yep. Except for Anaquisi.
Well, yeah. And then Fosella and Odaroma, at least.
That's a rather curious pair. They tend not to get involved with people unless there's some benefit to it, or some greater good served by benefiting a greater evil.
You're telling me. Not to mention that Odaroma is a supreme being now as well, and Fosella being, well, Fosella.
Yeah, she is quite the anomaly.
But I suppose there's nothing else we can learn of her by just, well, philosophizing what might a former spider do with a bunch of completely normal mortals.
See, I'm inclined to think that she is being genuine because everything she's done is against her nature. She left her colony behind without a goal of making a new one. She left her horde behind so she could have a successor. That never happens. And let's see. Well, and she seems genuinely interested in the surface. Spiders generally don't have a lot of interest in anything. Hence why, as the queen, she didn't care much for names and couldn't remember them very easily.
She said that...
Yeah, here we are.
She said that she was led by freaking genetics, I think? Like just before she changed.
That's what she said.
She mentioned that she was essentially a research experiment of a scientist or alchemist prior to her becoming what she is.
But she also...
that was the beginning of her life, so to speak. She was very young.
Yeah, but I recall you also mentioning that her expressing that her development into what she is now was her following her genetics. That's what they were pushing her to become.
Yeah, like in the throne room.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Repeat that.
In the throne room, before, like, when Luon was talking with her and before she changed, she changed her, like, her change is effectively the will of her genetics or something like to that degree.
Silly.
And what's the point? I'm clearly missing something.
No, I'm just thinking, like, if it's just genetics, because we don't know how that shit works with spiders.
Well, you know that essentially normally spiders don't become this, so she is an anomaly. Although she appears to evolve based off of something that could be any guess of you, but she's actively evolving, and essentially her human form is just one of those evolutions.
From Belinda's perspective, she's saying that Sakura is acting contrary to what her instincts ought to be, but based on Sakura's account, it seems like she's following her instincts, which are just different from that of a regular face-body matriarch.
Twice, they're very different.
Which is a given, but essentially, it doesn't seem like Belinda's quite grasped that just yet. Or she doesn't know what to make of it.
Like,
It's pretty clear she grasped it. She's just not sure what to make of it.
Yeah.
If I wasn't any wiser, I'd say it's a work of fate, but she did say that it's a part of her evolution by her genetic evolution, but there's no way to tell, really.
The question is, what fueled it? Well, we know that it was a mutation caused by Aether, but still, that'd be very fascinating to know precisely what happened. Though that's more or less impossible to discover, especially now that she's not how she used to be at the time.
Right. We'd need some sort of record. Well, the goddess of memory would be a great place to start, but I doubt she'd be able to tell us anything based off of that.
She'd be able to give a clue, but, well, that's about it.
Luon's like, should I just summon an ugly
There you go, Weeksy, come here.
Hey, Pillow.
Hey.
To hug you for a bit. So, what do you say? Just observe her for the time being, then?
Yes, it's probably best we don't get involved, and just allow her to act accordingly to her own will, and make judgments based off of that. So while there are conflicting signals coming from her, probably best to just observe said signals until we have a better idea.
That sounds like a good plan.
Because if she is being genuine, and she truly does intend to help us, well, she's pretty much a priceless ally.
That she truly is. Can't really think of any better ally considering how, well, first of all, how knowledgeable she is.
Yes, that will be a very big boon.
Boom. Speaking of, well, boons, what about that young dragon girl?
She kind of gives you a curious look. Oh, you're referring to Ambrosia.
That's the one.
To be perfectly frank, I don't know much about her because, you know, the companions of Bella and so on came across her during the time that I was controlled by Biblios. So all I have seen of her is, well, the past not even a day. She kind of offers a wry smile at that. Because it was not long after I came to being, you know, pulled away from Biblios' puppetry that we just went on to the mines. So, honestly, I have no clue about her.
Well, I came to realize something quite interesting regarding her. Well,
she kind of brings her finger to with a small smile. Oh, is that so?
Well, thanks to Chinami anyway. That girl is an absolute treasure when it comes to reading to this kind of stuff. I couldn't believe it, but she appears to be a true soul reincarnation.
You would know that Linda doesn't know what that is.
Wait, she doesn't?
She hasn't opened Pandora's box.
Oh,
So you should not mention that.
right.
You could say that she's in a reincarnation because technically that is true.
Yeah. Right. True souls are freaking Pandora's box thing, yeah.
Yeah.
If Belinda did open Pandora's box, she'd be considerably more powerful.
Yeah. Well, firstly, I noticed that she's a reincarnation. I don't know.
Go on.
Of,
She kind of like leans forward a bit.
I don't know of whom or why, but she also, in her whatever her past life was, or whoever she was, she possessed quite powerful, in fact, significant psionic capability. And those psionics are then enhanced in this life. She's
I imagine they would
strong.
be as a crystal dragon.
Yes, it amplifies them significantly. But what bothers me is that I don't know just exactly, well, why a gem dragon outside of psionics, and she's a very recent, considering her age. She's technically a neonatal. As far as the dragon's lifespan goes anyways.
Yes, based on simply looking her over and the fact that her humanoid form is not fully fleshed out, so to speak, she can't be more than a few months old to half year or so at most. She is very much an infant, though I must say she was quite eloquent in her draconic. Her, well, calming needs a bit of work, quite a bit of work, but she is surprisingly fluent and speaks very clearly in Draconic. It's kind of odd. It's like, little girl, you should not be that eloquent and articulative, but you are.
Is it possible that Coin would have filled Luan on some of the tales of Ambrosia? Like he knows?
Yeah, Quinn would have, definitely did that.
Yeah, essentially.
As soon as Leon was like, hey, I'm around this little girl, he would have been like, oh, well, this, and this.
And there's one big thing, which is the fact that she has told Ashi and the heroes, I knew Helena, and I knew Barrett, but also, I was born in that cave.
Yeah.
Like...
It's like, how are these two things true?
Uh-huh.
Because I remember from the roll, you're able to deduce that she's telling the truth. Well, it's like, how? That was like over 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, easily.
In the Otensis, that's like 4,000 plus years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, it's even longer than that.
Yeah, it would be like
around
6,000.
3,500 years ago.
Good God.
No, it's actually about 35,000 years ago is when the first hero.
Precisely, so that was the biggest thing.
Yeah, she's the world's oldest wormling. Holy shit.
Yep.
That reminds me, Belinda, another thing. The names,
Yes.
The names Barrett Ganyuine and Helena Dorshasa wouldn't be familiar with you, would they?
Well, I can't say that they are. I've heard of the Barrett that you make mention of, but not the woman.
As far as I understand, what the fuck was fucking
Let me grab
Barrett was the first hero of the dark, right?
Let me fix it for you because I have both of their profiles right here.
Hold on.
Yeah, good. I remember Helena was a fucking a blasphemous paladin who held like 3 oaths or something, and Barrett was like the Fey Prince, which
Yes.
Which was
Post and play.
Who was the first hero of the dark?
I posted both and play.
Imagine. Hold on.
Okay.
Alright, so you would imagine that she knows of Barrett because she was from the Feywild, like her family. So they would easily know who Barrett is because he would have probably a lot of folk legend.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that does make sense. Would I have heard of like the hero banter from Queen as well?
The hero what?
The hero banter that like are in the profiles, like how Barrett like transferred or held Dammer as his successor.
Like you'd essentially know all this when, like I said, like as soon as you learned, hey, I'm here, these people. Quinn's like, you need to know this, and Luan would be like, Nani? Why are you giving me all this information? And Quinn's like, trust me, it's relative.
Trust me, bro. It's like, well, the two are linked to the first heroes of darkness and light, as far as I understand. Though there isn't much else known of that. Of course, I imagine you heard something like folk legend regarding this Barrett person, but what's plainly contradictory is the fact that Ambrosia knows them, as in personally.
Yes, it does not quite make sense. Because if it's true that she was born in a cave, which, based on her appearance, she's, well, not that old at all. So either she's lying about being born in a cage, or she's she gives a big shrug of reincarnation. Those are the only two explanations that I can think of off the top of my head.
I'll try and dig a bit more into that. I'm planning on talking with Lady Nefertang once we get to the church. That woman... Well, I have more than a few questions for her.
Indeed.
What the fuck are you doing? Who are you? What are you?
She then kind of pauses. Is there anything else I can do for you, Luan Guhan?
Well, as an accomplished scientist such as yourself, why are face spider silken eggs so sought after? Why were you going after them?
Well, face spider silk is pretty much a given because it is extraordinarily durable. Its tensile strength, so to speak, is far, far stronger than most, if not all, threads that can be thought of. It can effectively even be stronger than threaded steel. And suffice to say, that's difficult to make. And so its applications are anything you could think of you'd need. Cloth, clothes, armor, stationery, all sorts of things. So its versatility of use is, well, what makes it very lucrative. And a spider colony is just full of it. So suffice to say, we sought to get that silk. Now, as for the eggs, those are an important ingredient in alchemy for a great number of things.
I'm glad to hear that. I was starting to think that you were planning on hatching them yourself.
Suffice to say, space spider eggs are extraordinarily valuable. Easily several hundred platinum, or several hundred gold each.
Luan raised an eyebrow at that. What are they used for in alchemy then? Give me a couple examples.
Well, effectively they can be used in potions of etherealness, which are very handy for certain types of research regarding the ethereal plane, where it's difficult to constantly use spells that are rather costly, or if you have need of someone to go there and back that can't do so themselves. And they're also useful in elixirs that allow you to briefly teleport, so to speak, for a duration of throughout the day. And they also make it so you can be effectively immune to poison along with these sorts of things. Granted, this is just two of their uses. There's a great many more, but those are the most commonly known. Because, suffice to say, the potion of etherealness is a near perfect getaway, so to speak, if you're being attacked by, like, say, assassins. Most are not equipped to deal with something on the ethereal plane, let alone see them. And even if they could see them, interacting with them is incredibly difficult. So it's a pretty much shoo-in that you will escape if any assassination attempt was made on you. So that made it very valuable amongst nobles. So the demand was high, but the supply was low, and there was plenty of coin to go around willing to spend to get their hands on them. In fact, I had a few myself, for very obvious reasons, as the queen. She kind of just gives a wry smile at that.
And I looks at her like, which loon tried assassinating you?
Well, there was the Red Dragon, and, well, yeah, the Red Dragon, and there was once an assassination from Ch.1.
Really?
That was regarding... I might have deserved that one. She offers a wry smile.
What did you offend? Did you offend our tea preferences or what?
Well, let's just say I applied some really harsh tariffs after they had slighted me and, well, made a big botch on some business dealings regarding trade. So she was effectively, so if you want to trade with us, you'll have to pay up for that. And considering that we were a major supplier of raw resources to them, they weren't too happy about that. So the assassination attempt was more a warning than anything, but suffice to say it was duly noted. Because if one assassin can come close to killing me, a few most definitely will. So, yeah, message was sent. She just kind of gives a cheeky smile at that.
Belinda the Tariff Queen, huh?
Well, I took trade and economy of our nation very seriously. We are a little small nation, but it is what it is.
Well, you came to be a pretty prosperous nation as well, so can't exactly say you were a bad queen.
It's just unfortunate that the Red Dragon had planned to remove us from the area for over a century, without any of us being any the wiser.
Unfortunately, but with a new queen and a plan in place, we'll get it back soon enough. Not like they're going to be entering the forest anytime soon, unless they have a death wish.
Yeah, the forest is quite inhospitable for those not welcome.
And it's also governed by, well, Ladies Bulder and Skiaspidox. And, well, the latter makes me a little queasy, considering we'll have to enter there, and that woman does not pull punches. She does pull bowstrings, though.
Well, it's more so a matter of where you go.
Isn't the whole forest her domain? Well, largely.
Technically it is, but the particularly nasty beasties are within a few miles of her primary church within there. So, suffice to say, it would be unwise to get too close. But if you don't, it's not so bad. You're just typical wildlife. Monstrosities are only in that direction, so to speak. She just points off in a seemingly random direction with the small grin. Steer clear of her church and, well, they won't get too close to you.
Well, that's a bit
Although I heard that the Belle and her companions at Silverlead encountered one that had strayed a bit far away from the church. I believe it was a very massive slime.
A slime?
Apparently, it consumed a lot of bears that it had found dead. I don't know the full story there, but it was quite a powerful foe.
That doesn't sound exactly pleasant to fight.
If I'm not mistaken, Bella mentioned that Quinn was involved, so you might be able to ask him for details.
Got it. Ask him about the giant slime combat. I'm sure.
I believe it was a shambling mound, which effectively it was a hybrid between a plant creature and a slime creature, which is what made it very deadly. Normally, a shambling mound is simply a plant, but not this one.
Lon just looks at Belinda like, how the fuck did any of them live?
It's like slimes in general, it's like they come in two forms. Relatively harmless and fucking dangerous.
Yeah, there's literally no in between.
Judging by this thing consumed a bunch of bears and attacked the castle, it sounds like it's one of the latter.
A bear-consuming giant slime shambling mound hybrid. not something I'd exactly want to meet myself.
Suffice to say, it goes without saying that that was definitely a creation from Lady Spiaspodox, because it would be a very inconvenient thing to fight on your way to the summit of her church.
And on its home ground, no less. Well, technically. Also, would I think that having Belinda open Pandora's box would that be detrimental to our operations here effectively? Since she'd basically learn a whole bunch of new people.
You recall what well, actually, no,
can't.
you wouldn't recall, but your true self would have made mention that at one point, Etheropia mentioned how a time traveler or a chronomancer don't really open Pandora's box because they're kind of at risk anywhere they go in the cosmos by the bigwigs that try to keep it under wraps. But since Belinda doesn't have anywhere to go and she's not going to be leaving anytime soon, this kind of danger would not apply to her, so there really is no particular downside. Granted, you cannot be dead longer than a day before you're forced to the great beyond and cannot come back, but considering time travelers are a little difficult to kill,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be that great of a concern.
So, I think I could just guide her to Olivine, honestly, to talk about that. Because she would be able to. Well, technically I could too, but not really.
You'd think that the best person in regards
Oriana,
to
maybe.
refer her to would be either Oriana, Maria, or Key.
Yeah.
Which,
Technically,
given that it's a request for opening Pandora's box, normally they don't interact too much with mortals, but this would be an exception because it's effectively an ascension test.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm not gonna mention anything about it to Belinda, but I'm going to effectively once I'm done with Olivine, I'm effectively going to try to contact freaking Key about that.
Yeah, you think Key would be the go-to one because she's readily available.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't have a lot to do because there's not exactly a ton of true magical girls running around in the cosmos.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, small bubblegum, get over here.
I hear the sound of thunder.
Um,
I hear the sound of thunder, so if all could watch out because there's a chance that my name might cut out.
Yeah,
well, we'll just wait if that's the case.
Yeah, there's thunder close by here too, but it's not that bad. I'm not dying of humidity yet, so it's not that close.
It's like, I've yet to suffer, so we're good.
Exactly. But yeah, it's like... But, well, that's really everything I wanted to ask you. So, are you ready to go bully Bella some more, or...?
Once she returns, she kind of gives a smirk.
Wait. We know that she became a time traveler. Yeah, it's cleared up. It's like, well, there is kind of something, but it's a bit more than just a tea time story. But what exactly is your Magitech background, considering you have a full-blown laboratory and everything?
Sorry, repeat the question.
What is your Magitech background, considering you were a tinker queen, so to speak, and you had a full laboratory under the Montaches banner and everything?
I am a Magitech researcher. Not quite a Magitech engineer, but I know a fair degree about engineering, but not enough to confidently state engineer. But when it comes to actual research, I can very confidently say that I am quite adept in that field.
That makes it 3 Magitech experts in this household, one might say. I tinker myself, but I'm not anywhere near an expert.
Well, you're an expert, but you're not anywhere near being specialized.
Well, yeah. Well, yes, I'm an expert, but I'm nowhere near of being specialized. Not that I'd want to personally, but that's just the road that it's taken me. But considering the interesting things we found at the AAL, well, we should be making some fun progress with that soon.
Indeed. There's much to do.
Yeah,
The visit to the Gnome Town will be very interesting, because we have a great deal to show them.
To say the least. Stuff about Elpidamenos is, well, they were advanced beyond anyone's wildest dreams. So I can't wait to see how those gnomes' faces fall once they witness what we brought there.
Yes, my kingdom came very close to opening the gates for Ether and Aether, but we stared into the abyss and decided it was not wise to stare for very long, so we turned away. It was the Elpidamenos that stared into the abyss and learned what they did. But that brought ruin to their country 3 times. Because there was 3 empires that came. The initial empire upon Imagitech taking off. And then there's a revolt that when the complacency got the better of those who became the bourgeoisie. And then lastly, there was another revolt, but that is the present empire before the sinking. So essentially, one empire replaced tyrants with new tyrants. And then following that was the actual benevolent empire that lasted until the sinking. Well, benevolent is relative. Now is exclusively to their own people. They had ruthless efficiency in their hostilities towards others, which namely would be Kibohana and the Red Dragon.
Considering the hard-ass warriors Kibohana has, I can't imagine any other outcome.
Suffice to say, trying to invade Kibohana never went very well for them. Instead, they went around and harassed the Red Dragon.
Well, that's good news both ways. That's it. That's an interesting bit of lore. I did not know that. Thank you.
What'd you say? An interesting what?
Yeah, that's an interesting bit of lore. I did not know that. Thank you.
She gives a small nod. There's a great degree of knowledge when it comes to that country. I kept close eyes on it all the way up until the sinking.
Huh. Then I assume you know a lot about the Challenge project too?
I only know of that by virtue of Malt because I have not been to the other side of the world. Because attempting to teleport through the No More is not a good idea. Because I can teleport, yes, but not very far. So while I can effectively pass through the canvas of creation, I'm not confident I can make it all the way through the No More. She offers kind of a wry smile, so I'm not going to bother trying.
If she were to open Pandora,
teleport lands in the middle. Fuck.
It's like
no longer works. Fuck.
You just get scrambled on a spiritual level.
Yeah. Like, then there's Harmonia somewhere over there, like, hello. Who are you? Hello, Scrambler. Welcome to Oblivion.
Yeah, Clackytarn was fine because Harmonia was with him.
Yeah. Harmonia was like, here, take this level shield. But, like, effectively, if she were to open Pandora's box, she effectively, like, I imagine her teleport range would also increase because freaking true.
Yeah,
soul
pretty
time
much
traveler.
all aspects of her chronomancy would become more powerful.
One would then kind of look at her and go, "Would you like to?" Not drown and die. I mean, visit the
That
other side of
is
the world.
relative, because I'm not going to bother with such a leap of faith unless I am absolutely certain I can make it to the other side.
If you could make it to the other side, then.
Well, certainly not now or anytime soon, as my tasks largely centered on keeping an eye on Bella, and by extension Adeline.
Well, true. That runt kind of has you grounded here.
Like, she may be an adult now, but she has a lot of room for growth. She kind of offers a smile at that.
Well, didn't we all when we were younger?
Yep, though she's no longer younger, so I don't have to spare her the details, or the sugar quite as much.
So, and for somehow I now imagine her wanting to be a child again. So,
Well, she asked for this, so that is exactly what she's going to get. She just kind of gives almost like a devious smile there at the end, the last part. It's like, be careful what you wish for, Bella, you might just get it.
yeah, Luon's looks at her like, and thus Demon Queen Belinda the Time Traveler was born.
Well, she now has the mental faculties to study more advanced topics, so to speak, and a lot more readily. So
True.
that is precisely what we shall do.
And she doesn't get exhausted or tired quite as often either, so... Well, win-win, I imagine.
Yeah, that is the consequences of long-lived races very abruptly gaining a couple years. Because they effectively have, well, incredible statistics in regards to their own physical prowess. The mental prowess helps a bit as well, but it's mostly the physical body that gets a bit of a boost because they just move forward a few small years into their prime, which Bella is experiencing with her untiring nature.
That is true.
In fact, she's barely felt the need to sleep ever since this happened.
Well, seems like she really did get the best ends out of everything from that deal.
It'll catch up to her in time, but for now she's really enjoying it for what it is.
Looks at Time Traveler. Well, you'd know all about sleep then.
Indeed. She kind of gives a knowing smile at that.
Well, it was a fun talk, but I have a couple other people to get to, but do keep yourself available later today, won't you?
She gives a small nod. Of course.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I'll be sure to make all the time in the world for you.
Give looks back as he stands up, smiles at her. How considerate.
She then gives a small nod before shooing you away with a hand.
And kind of just raises his hands up to the air as he hops to the freaking door.
And you notice, right as you're going to leave, you see Bella come back into the space from where you can only assume to be her room. So you don't think too much of it. You're like, oh, that's where she went.
Huh. Well, that was perfect timing.
Yes, for now, the bullying shall commence. She puts on a little sinister smile at that.
Yeah, as Lon opens the door here, makes a strumming motion like you do in a lute. Take your inspiration for that attitude.
And she gets a laugh out of her.
Did you just make a D&D joke? Indie.
Well, no, because bards inspire people. Like, in universe.
Yep. They use their bardic magic to do so.
Yeah. So it's literally, take your inspiration to bully the freaking beanstalk further.
Gotcha.
So technically it was a multi-layered joke.
Nice.
The Alpina Menos is interesting. I have to dig into that a bit more. And I imagine I would next go to find the other footstool, which would be, well, Belling is not a footstool, but find the footstool, which would be Olivine.
Imagine probably best bet is to send her Linkstone message. As she may be indisposed otherwise.
Yeah. Luan would then just like walk along the corridor and dig out his Linkstone. We'll move it to his like cheek, like a certain Nokia phone. And go like, hey, Miss Olivine Azamoria Claremont. I need to talk to you. If you're indisposed, get your belongings together and meet me.
So after probably a few seconds or so, she replies with, "I'll meet you at your room in a few minutes."
Then puts the Linkstone away and starts leisurely walking towards his own room.
So as you're just kind of making your way through, it's pretty quiet around here today. It's actually very relaxing.
Yep. It's a nice change to the freaking constant
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Constant noise and concern of something popping out of the ground, ceiling, or floor to try to eat you at any moment.
Exactly. To be fair, we do have people like Justice, so that is still a threat. But hey, but yeah, it's nice to kind of go along with the tranquility of the place.
So you didn't make it in your room, come in.
I imagine I don't really see anyone in the corridors or anything.
No, the hall is empty. So whomever is doing things, they're either getting ready for dinner or finishing whatever business they have for the afternoon.
Nice. That's good.
So after about 4 or 5 minutes, there's a knock at your door.
Come on in, it's unlocked.
Oliver then opens the door before kind of coming on in, and she gives like a small wave before walking into the room a bit.
Hey, Olivine.
Hello.
You right?
Yep.
That's good. Considering I thought you might have just been asleep. Considering everything we had to go through for the last... Kind of like counts in his head. Week.
She kind of gives a wry smile at that. Dismantling the lair and defeating the dragon was the easy part. Managing the horde and shooing off the other creatures within the tunnels, that was not so easy part. We ended up having to remain there for days due to some reason that so many started coming through. It was interesting.
Was it cursed?
It's like, is it like they would have come in from because we were off to the east, right? Like proportionally.
Yeah, because you know that directly to the west is the dragon.
Yeah. Yes, sorry about that. We might have made a bit of a ruckus. That would have been us.
Well, that certainly explained the frequent attacks of monsters while trying to organize the horde, which ended up taking a few days to effectively take inventory for better or worse, though we kind of gave up counting coin after several thousand gold. At this point, it was like, oh, right. This is gonna take a while. We'll do this later.
It's like, you getting thousands of gold, us getting thousands of platinum, not too bad.
Yes, so the inability to leave the horde without risk of creatures snatching it away or parts of it away was rather daunting because it was incredibly boring. And then it became incredibly not boring based off of, well, who showed up. She kind of just deflates at that with a soft smile.
Luan's making tea, and he offers Olivine a cup as he pours for himself. Care for a drink?
Yes, please, and thank you. Like, you can just sense a bit of frustration in Olivine's tone, as she's just like, "Fuck! They would not leave us alone."
Who did show up?
All sorts of creatures. Basilisks, onkigs, horrors, a couple phase spiders, though they didn't really do too much after we noticed them.
Well, the good thing is that the phase spiders are on our side now.
So I've heard.
Yes, we kind of made it, well, that young seamstress more so, Eliwick, I believe her name is, made a deal with the phase spider queen.
That's very curious.
So we'll likely be in working relations with her successor. Trade and whatnot. So we'll be getting lots of good quality spider silk from the colony. And that's not even the best of the news.
Suffice to say, that will be, well, pretty useful because there's a great deal of things that can be made with this silk.
Silk and the eggs, but I'm not so sure how willing the successor would be to part with the eggs. And I'd rather not fight a 60-foot tall huntsman spider made of phase, or with the capabilities to phase into the ethereal plane.
Yeah, that's definitely a pass. She kind of gives a small grin at that.
Yeah, it kind of looks like no. Well, then there is the other nasty that I sent you a Linkstone message about. Apparently it was a mutated aberration of a beholder of some kind, but honestly I don't really want to get rid of that thing with a 300-foot pole.
Yeah, we'll just leave that where it is. Because if it's not bothering anyone, it doesn't need to be addressed.
Exactly.
Granted, curiosity gets the better of me, but it sounds to be a creature that curiosity is best not satisfied, otherwise it will catch you. And I'm not so sure I could get away from it.
Kind of like
I may be the paragon of time, but I'm only a chrono shifter. We're not that good at escaping.
Yeah, exactly. Looks at Olivine like, do you really want to give Rulu another heartbreak? I'm not coming to fish you out of a beholder innings if you do get caught. Like,
Duly noted.
It's curious, but I'm not diving into a fucking beholder's mouth to get the goddamn bargain.
Especially we don't know what kind of beholder it is. It's
exactly.
some powerful, and that's all that needs to know.
Exactly.
I mean, so technically, I could outlast it, but
All you know
you
is
can
that
go in there and be like, "Oh, hey, it's this." Gets killed. Comes back later. Okay, it's this.
all you know is that it can manipulate people's perceptions of its environment.
Exactly.
Which suggests that it is quite powerful.
I could kill it in the long by playing the long con against it.
A battle of attrition.
Yep.
I can't attrition anything. It's just how can I get away with doing so?
Do you mention that part about the beholder?
He just did.
Yeah,
No, that shadow.
yeah, and she knows because I mentioned it in the
The
Linkstone
preliminary.
message. Yeah. Honestly, I could just this kind of debrief. I never thought I'd say this, but debriefing's nice. She takes a sip from the drink.
By the looks of things, it's probably not going to be a particularly long meeting because pieces are just sort of falling into place, for lack of a better term.
Yep, I'm sure we'll get a debrief of the Dragon's Horde at that very meeting, so yeah. Probably shouldn't be too many hitches until we're off to Tossi's church.
Yep, that is certainly correct.
I just hope I don't have to carry Chinami, considering she'll likely be dead.
She just kind of chuckles at that.
Yeah.
She'll manage.
She's like, my legs hurt.
It's like, no, not the road again.
It's like, what happened, What happened, Princess Chinami? Didn't you like trouble?
Like, have you never gone camping? No.
Oh my god. But there are a couple things that I did want to talk to you about. As well. Considering you're both a quintessent soul and, well, the paragon of time. I was wondering,
Yes.
You've been traveling with the group longer than I have. How well do you know Ambrosia and Barseltep and Anksekmet?
Well, I can't say that I know much about Ambrosia because I do not speak Draconic. And I did not interact with her too much. Though I did quite a bit more towards when we were leaving Silver Lake. Though prior to that, but that was by proxy of Bella. Now, as for Nefertonk and Bossotep, well, I can't say that I spent much time with them, though Bossotep did make a bit of an effort to come out and see me ever so often and speak with me. She is a very charismatic woman.
Yeah, Luan just kind of smiles at that. Well, I can totally see that. She's a bit of a, well, she's pleasant to be around, I'll say as much.
And as far as something off, well, yes. There is one thing that is off about Bossotep.
That is? Luan kind of like leans back on his chair, like looks at her.
She then continues like in a low voice. She is not who she appears to be. She then takes her mirror out from her patch and just kind of like holds it up. This can see through illusions of just about any kind, particularly that of devils and demons. However, one of the things it cannot see through is illusions made by gods. So looking at her through the mirror, I effectively see a blank face, meaning that the face that we see is not her real face, but I cannot see what her real face is because it is protected by divine power.
A godly fuckery, huh?
So whomever she is very important. Though I highly doubt she's to the degree of a divine champion, because that would be unwise for her to be with us. Though it is possible she's the highest of station, or perhaps she's simply an individual, a god who wants to protect their identity. It's very hard to say which it is, but it's one of the three. I am reasonably confident.
Well, there are some clues, though I'm unsure as to what to make of them right now. First off, that woman is supremely unlucky.
Oh, I've seen some of this back at Silverleaf. She had a bit of altercations with being harmed by things.
She's gotten punched down while we were down in the tunnels and caverns and whatnot. She got punched, stabbed, tripped, hit by an arrow, and crushed by a pallet. Stepped
Hit
on.
by a flying sword.
Yeah, hit by a flying sword, a la Justice. Don't ask.
No, that was Ashi's.
Asha?
Or yeah, it was Ashi's because a la Ashi and Malt, that is. And well, a lot more that I can't really recall accurately right now, but
Well, that sounds about par for the course. While in Silverleaf, there wasn't necessarily a lot of dangers or things that could go wrong, but things still did happen to her that were very improbable, but certainly not impossible.
honestly, improbable is more the word at this point because, well, it could be improbable, it could be accidental, but I can't help but wonder if there's something more to it.
Yes, it is very easy to wonder such things when you have a discernible pattern behavior. Though it's hard to say without significant evidence because it could just be that it's a deviation.
Honestly, yes, without hard proof, well, that's really the best that anyone can say. The fact that her face is hidden by an illusion made by a god of this world, a god. I'm not quite sure what to make of that. Could be many things.
Well, I'm reasonably confident that she is our ally because Lady Nefertonk would not associate herself with someone of this nature. And prior to her, while she was still the High Priestess, which was when she met them, it'd be very hard to hide such identities from her at that time.
We suggest that she knows.
Yeah. Correct. Would that mean that Lady Odigos is involved then?
It's very possible, though I greatly surmise that Lady Nefertonk knows a great many secrets about Basotep and Onsekmet, which is likely one of the reasons that the two of them are with her wherever she goes. They owe her, so to speak, a debt of gratitude.
That woman, Nefertank, knows a lot. Plus, she's omitted a couple things from me as well while we've been talking. But a bit more on that a bit later. But are you aware that at Ambrosia, the dragon wormling is definitely a true soul reincarnation?
No, I was not.
And not only
That
is
is very curious. Go on.
Not only is she a true soul reincarnation, but she's also a significantly powerful psionicist, or at least someone who possessed psionic power in her past life. I assume that you know the names Helena Dorchasa and Barrett Gagnon.
Of course. Though that's very curious what you say about Ambrosia psionics, because as far as I'm aware, we've never seen her use them. I mean, she's technically too young to really use them beyond, very basic telepathy at short range. Though I can't say she's used that either. So that's interesting.
She used it on me exactly once when I first met her. But outside of that, not really. But considering who she is,
What did Ambrosia do again?
Unless I'm derping, but she said hello to me or something telepathically when I first met her, when I went through the door.
No, she just said hello.
Oh, did she?
Hello. Yeah, she said that out loud.
Oh, right. She said, yeah, sorry. Yeah, she said it out loud, but then we switched to Draconic. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, well, she hasn't used... That is retcon that, because... Well, she hasn't exactly used it on me either, or something that I could have sensed. and considering she knows the likely first hero of light and the first hero of darkness, she's old, far older than what a dragon
greatly
should be.
complicates things. Yes.
Does anything come to mind, Olivine? You know, well, more about the heroes than I would.
Well, we speculated that the hero of darkness is a constant. You know, the hero of darkness remains the hero of darkness for however long they wish, until they then pass it on to whomever the inheritor is at the time. And this is just speculation, but we suspected that possibly the hero of light is the opposite. And that is that they frequently change. And that is through reincarnation, we believe. So, with dark and light being the opposites of how they interact, it seems that those who carry the hero of light don't appear to live very long. For reasons that's not known to any of us, but based off of what we learned of Helena and the heroes of light that came after her, they're very fleeting in comparison to the others.
Well,
Now, as far as what happens precisely to them when it gets to that point, and perhaps they're not all killed, that is anyone's guess.
So the best we have that she's likely associated with Helena somehow.
Well, I'm inclined to suspect that maybe, just maybe, she might be the hero of light.
Based on your explanation, that's kind of what I'm thinking too, but then again, I don't have that much evidence.
Granted, this is just based off of circumstantial evidence. It could just be her genetics as a dragon, but based on what I've seen, this is effectively what I've got. I wish I had a better theory, but knowing so little about her, there's only so much that can be gleaned.
Then
Bella knows a lot about her, though.
I might go and ask a bit more about Nefertank. I am planning on talking with her. Mostly because she dodged a question that I asked her about the Inheritor of Light.
If there were any other candidates, it would probably be her. And possibly Basotep, but that's hard to say. It's very possible that they obfuscate the truth of the others around them, instead acting as a stick.
I would have said Nefertank before I came to realize that there's something off about Basotep, but yes, obfuscation is very likely.
Such things are needed when dealing with sensitive identities.
Unfortunately.
And before, Basotep is actually the hero of Void before Cat becomes inheritor.
Well, Cat is inheritor, but yeah, it's like, what the fuck, Basotep? How?
Yeah, Cat's already the inheritor.
Yeah, correct.
Would be funny if Basotep was Void. Like, what the fuck? It's like, this happiness I feel and elicit to around me, it's actually fake. Like, what?
It's like, Nani?
Yeah. What do you mean fake?
Look at this. I don't actually know how to play this lute.
Oh god.
I've borrowed the skill from the Nether.
Yeah. Well, there is another
My
thing.
mind went with the it's all fake thing to fucking nihilism.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking about the latest Fosella drop that I learned a while ago.
Yeah.
But it's yeah. One then like look at Olivine, like snap his fingers. There is one thing. Even though Bastelthep is well very outgoing and extroverted and quick to pick things up to try them, she also kind of knew how to handle ether since we went to the deep. She seemed to be very well. Either she was testing or she was already an expert at using and wielding and weaving ether, but... And then there's the seamstress. Kind of like sighs outwards, like, how the fuck do you even begin to explain this? But he's like, I can understand myself. I've been to the deep several times. But her, I'm not so sure. She simply seemed very adept, in a word. Formed a massive fireball and fired it off with decent accuracy too.
Well, from what I understand and read of those who have journeyed into the deep, which is something that's very recent, it's found that those who manipulate ether, it's not easy to do at first.
Yes, which is why I'm bringing this point up in the first place. It's well, if I'm being frank, contradictory. Or she's the most gifted individual we've seen in a while, but...
It's really hard to say, because we know so little about her other than, well, who she is. She doesn't really talk about herself, like, at all. I've recalled asking questions to her regarding things I've investigated, and she wasn't particularly helpful.
Using her charisma as a bard to redirect the conversation and some such, I imagine.
Yeah, she was very guarded, which was kind of suspicious because, based off of who I am and what I am, I'm generally the person that people are the least guarded around, because it's not gonna work. She just kind of gives a small smile. Amy, can you fix this? Because it's not working for me.
Okay. Will do.
Yeah, I don't know why, but Amy seems to be the only one to control the bot. Like, I've tried freaking putting the inputs like several times. I don't know why it doesn't freaking work.
Beats the hell out of me. Anyways, what'd you say? I got distracted by bots.
What the fuck did I say?
Good job.
The Sims god was like, undo task. Fuck. What the fuck did I say?
I don't remember.
The last thing I recall was talking about how Bastelthep could redirect the course of conversation using a charisma, and then Olivan saying, like, normally it doesn't work.
Olivan couldn't,
Read her.
get her to speak on much.
Good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I well, of course I don't remember because I didn't say anything yet. Good job, me.
Hehehe.
It's like,
You were getting ready to speak.
yes. Well, that just reaffirms the fact that she's more than likely hiding something rather big.
Very much so, though. She is far too guarded to really learn what that is presently. Because her little box that she has with her, where she keeps a number of her things, are very difficult to get into.
A lookbook that you can't open? What are you supposed to be, a sham of a rogue?
In my defense, the cloak and dagger thing is not necessarily my forte.
Well, true. That's Catherine.
Sure, I can get into most things, but generally not safes and the like, so to speak, because not a lot of information's kept in them, and if there are kept in them, they have bigger secrets that of more concern to us.
Also, like during session 0, because I never got around to asking, but didn't she effectively use like psionics, or like she chrono shifted me? I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
But was that because it was because she's a quintessence, or because she's like possesses psionics?
Well, she can chrono shift through time.
Well, true.
You know, you are chief magical girl, or chief magical boy, which is technically a cosmic level being. You just hang out in eternity by virtue of, lucky. Essentially, you're that guy that goes to, like, the high class, like, party. You just don't belong, but you were invited by someone that actually belongs. Yeah, that's Clack.
Yeah, he's it's like,
He has no business being up here in this hoity-toity greater beyond. But since he helps Lucky and, is really good with ideas and shit, it's like, hey, come up here and help me.
Yeah, effective.
It's like I'm in the realm of bullshit. You need to help me, like, sift through the bullshit. We don't know how to make this son of a bitch work.
And hence the bullshit brothers were born. Let's see. Well, I'll be talking with Nefertank once we get to Tossi's church. I'll see if I can't squeeze something out of her.
I imagine she'll be more willing to talk in a place that's like that. It's much more secure.
Yes. Even though I've heard that it's more like a resort, and, well, considering how traumatized most of the girls here are.
She kind of like raises an eyebrow at that, like, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you don't know, do you?
Apparently not.
Yeah, it would then go and proceed to tell about how freaking Elric was eaten into pieces in front of everyone, how freaking we had, like, my skull got crushed in, and freaking...
She nearly died twice.
She nearly died, lost 2 limbs, and how...
Elric
we
got to see.
He fixed.
Yep, trying to do stuff.
And how we murdered fucking 30, well, Malt, and murdered like 13 freaking chronomancers and a goddamn truthsayer. And what else?
Essentially, once you're done giving that, she just kind of offers a wry smile. It would appear that you all have been a little busy. So, suffice to say, a little R&R might be in order for the girls, yes.
Yeah, yes. Luan just kind of like looks at her with a deadpan look, like, yeah. Julia, Nefertank, and, well, several others were, well, they exactly didn't take a lot of that well. So, it was, well, let's just say that Tossi's church is something that kind of a priority if we wish to retain the mental faculties and sanity of this group.
Which is kind of important, because people like you and I, we'll be fine with some pretty shaky things, but the same cannot be said for everyone else.
Yes.
At that, she, like, pauses. One moment. Catherine just contacted me. Apparently, Ashi wishes to speak with me for reasons she did not say. Mine gives a small shrug, like,
Ashi wishes to?
Yes, apparently it's important regarding a incident that happened. Though you do not need to worry about that. It's more of a personal matter.
Alright. That's fine then. Well, in that case, I'm not going to keep you any longer. We can continue this talk later.
She gives a nod. I'll come find you after I'm done with Hashi.
Alright. I'll likely be here or somewhere. Just contact my Linkstone.
Yes. She gives a small nod at that.
Time to find a spider. As he stands up from his seat.
So I'm thinking we'll end this here today and pick up with it later. Because
Sure.
I need to work on something.
Alrighty.
Sure. I can do it
I
in
got
tech.
something I need errands to do.
Gotcha.
Alright.
So
we
pick
can
up on
continue
you.
this like tomorrow or something.
Maybe.
Sure, I'll do it. I can do it like this Sakura thing in text play too.
To start with, essentially.
Yeah.
Sure, I guess.
Pick up from the air next time.